This Sunday, WrestleMania Backlash takes place, and I don't know what to make of this card. It's far from bad looking, but there's nothing here that really excites me, with plenty of rematches and not enough stakes. Hopefully the in-ring action will be able to carry this one, because most of these stories definitely won't. Anyway, let's get into it. I'm Pommy Wrestling, and these are my predictions for the 6 announced matches. Before officially starting, I quickly go through a few matches that could still be added. Kevin Owens vs Ezekiel. This one has had fun segments, with KO killing it every single time, but I don't really care for the match itself. The next interesting story beat is whatever they do on Raw to follow up what should be a fairly obvious win for Ezekiel. Becky Lynch vs Asuka. I'm really enjoying the direction Becky has taken since losing at Mania, and I'm happy to see Asuka finally back on TV. Whenever the match actually happens, Asuka winning is the perfect beat to continue Becky's downward spiral. Rhea Ripley vs Liv Morgan. Pretty annoyed at these teams' breakup since there are barely any women's tag teams and they actually had chemistry. But I'm still excited for a singles encounter between these two, which Rhea will probably win. And Bianca Belair vs Sonya Deville for the Raw Women's title. Surprise, this wasn't made official on Raw, and there's no real reason to do it since Bianca already came on top very decisively last week and would probably do the same at Backlash. Actually announced, let's start with Happy Corbin vs Madcap Moss. I'm really annoyed that the only case of long-term booking on this card is the one that focuses on two of the most obnoxious characters currently on TV. Corbin and Moss's comedy segments have been the low point of most SmackDowns throughout the entire road to WrestleMania, and the only positive of the breakup is that they are slightly less irritating when separate. Anyway, it's clear WWE sees something in Madcap Moss, so this should be a decisive win for him, hopefully followed by a noticeable character shift. Later on, it's Bobby Lashley vs Omos. Now this is a feud that didn't need to go beyond WrestleMania. Despite how hard WWE protected Omos for an entire year, his big match with Lashley wasn't of much note. The crowd hasn't really connected with him, and not even giving him MVP as a manager has really worked out. This is probably my least anticipated match on the card, and worst of all, it probably won't even be the last since I fully expect MVP to cost Lashley the win so they can have a rubber match. Afterwards, Edge takes on AJ Styles. When Edge turned heel a couple of months ago, I had my gripes with it, but was still intrigued by all the new possible matchups and the creation of a new faction. Unfortunately, the last month has done a terrifyingly efficient job at making him and Damian Priest look far less threatening than they should be. The presentation is cool, but they just haven't done anything that's actually cool. They randomly ended a match with a purple spotlight. They attacked AJ after a weak lights out spot. And Edge's promos have taken such a hit, they are reaching Bray Wyatt levels of rambling about everything and nothing without adding anything of note. Hope things turn around soon, starting with a win in this dream rematch that didn't live up to expectations at Mania. Coming next, it's Cody Rhodes vs Seth Rollins. I have mixed feelings towards this feud. Their match at WrestleMania was excellent, and most of the follow-up segments have been fantastic. However, I really wanted Cody to move on to a different opponent, because WWE tends to overextend feuds beyond their natural ending point. And that's exactly what I expect to happen here. I think Rollins will somehow steal the win only to set up a rubber match at Hell in a Cell. I hope I'm wrong here since I want Cody to remain unbeaten for a while, but I do not trust WWE. After that, it's Charlotte Flair vs Ronda Rousey in an I Quit match for the SmackDown Women's title. I kinda hate that this is one of my least favorite storylines going on in WWE at the moment, including NXT 2.0, and yet this is the match with the highest stakes on the whole card. Once again, there's been far too many promo segments that don't really allow Ronda to shine, and the only match she's had was a pointless beat the clock challenge. Genuinely, the only good part about this feud has been Drew Gulak auditioning for new roles. Thankfully, I doubt WWE would be dumb enough to have Ronda lose an I Quit match, so this should be a win for Ronda, hopefully ending this rivalry permanently. And finally, we have the Bloodline versus Drew McIntyre and RKBro with nothing on the line. For almost the entire past month, the Tag Team Championship unification was the main storyline driving both Raw and SmackDown. We had good TV matches, solid promo segments, and big stakes that were the main reason to tune into Backlash. One random content signing later, and we are stuck with a meaningless 6-man tag with no real stakes that belongs on the go-home show to a pay-per-view. There were some genuine intrigues for RKBro vs Usos since there were interesting stories to tell with either result. Now we have either a match where the result doesn't matter, or they put all the gold on the line and make the result painfully obvious. Assuming they don't put the belts on the line, I'm hoping for Drew and RKBro to win, because at least you could pull out an interesting story out of that result. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, see ya!